into human bodies and intelligence through bionic implants, a cognitive enhancement. These ideas has been common transhumanist theme ever since. Transhumanism is the enhancement of human being and also colonization of space. Let me give you an example. How many knows Elon Musk? Who knows Elon Musk? The guy who invented Tesla, who was given the invention. Because we like the American dream. Boy, we like the American dream. American dream is this spontaneous success. And we like to believe in spontaneous success. We like to believe that Mark Zuckerberg, Facebook founder, was the one who got this amazing idea and became billionaires overnight. And we like to think, and they build a story. I don't believe Mark Zuckerberg invented that. I believe he was handed this invention. Mark Zuckerberg today would be nothing without In-Q-Tel. In-Q-Tel, and this is public information, this is not conspiracy theory. It's well known, it makes the newspaper. In-Q-Tel is the financial arm of the CIA. So the CIA, through In-Q-Tel, gave money to Mark Zuckerberg for him to build this powerful servers. I mean, it's a lot of money. And overnight, it came from nothing to something super powerful. What about Google? Google, same thing. Google was founded and financed by the NSA. NSA is those who spy on you. They know everything about everyone. And overnight, Google came from nothing to, have a picture of every part of the world. They are in biometrics. They are in every field. Every aspect of our life is covered by Google. There's a purpose behind that. Now, Elon Musk, put aside Tesla, what does he like to do? Somebody knows? SpaceX. So he likes driverless car, electric car to save the earth. And also, in trying to save the earth, he wants to send people to Mars and colonize planet Mars before 2024. He wants to send before 2024. That's main news. So, he's inventing technology that will enhance human being, and he wants to colonize space. Does it remind you what it is? Transhumanism. Now, Walt Disney, was a big transhumanism. I could show you video. I did at church tonight. I don't have time. It's really hard. When you preach like this, it's a fine line between making a documentary and preaching. This is an endless subject. But I just try to cover highlights to give you a picture for you to know the truth. But Walt Disney, even in 1950s, was already talking about driverless car and magic highway in the U.S. and robots, and even got really close friend with Wernher von Braun, which was a Nazi who got smuggled into the U.S. with his 1,500 friends, scientists. Wernher von Braun became the head of spatial agency in the U.S., and Walt Disney and him made documentary to promote space travel and space this and going to the moon and going this and going that. Do you know what the prophet says about the space program? Go look it for yourself. The prophet says that thing about going to the moon, he says that's a modern Babel Tower. I always say when I read Genesis, I think it's 11, I don't remember which one, where Nimrod built a tower to reach to heaven. I always told the church before, even though I knew the quote, I said that's where the space program started. When they build a tower, the Bible says to reach to heaven. Why? To escape judgment. And the prophet says that's Tower of Babel. Did they succeed in the book of Genesis? Did they reach to heaven with the tower? They never did. That's why I don't believe in space traveling. We're in astronaut age, like the prophet says in the message Countdown. But the astronaut is only a guy who goes higher than the plane. But I don't believe in that nonsense of space travel and Mars and all that thing. Don't get caught up in that, because it's the spirit of Babylon, and it's a lie. Like Stephen Hawking said, we won't have enough resources on Earth, and we will have to escape this fragile planet Earth. It's a lie. And so Walt Disney was big into that, and you always have that seed in his movies and stuff. He's been after that for so long. Now, transhumanism, they do have a point when they say that us as human beings, we become fragile. We are weak. We're not as strong as our parents used to be and our grandfather, and we're not half of what it was 100 years ago. And the prophet did explain that, expose the whole human race is rotten. Well, if them physical beings of our bodies staring down like that from eating hybrid foods, tensions that rot in it, does not that also rot the brain cell? It's come to a place where the whole nation, the whole world, not only this nation, but everywhere, mentally gone. And that's you and me and Christians and non-Christian. This food affects us as it affects the world. We all eat the same thing. Of course, our food is sanctified through prayer, but we're not as strong as we used to be, and we have to rely on the Lord and not technology. So transhumanism has a point when they say we are weak, we don't remember things as we used to remember, so we need smartphones, smart this, smart that to enhance our life because we are weak. Google, remind me this. Alexa, remind me that. Siri, remind me this. Man is rotting in their flesh. If they're going through the middle age, between 20 and 25-year-old, the brain cells are rotting too. But we're not looking for technology to enhance. We're looking for a change of the body. And we're not looking to escape to go on Mars, but we're looking to go to the wedding supper, Lent supper. While this earth's going to be regenerated. So you see that these run side by side, those ideology. Christians know this earth's going to be destroyed, but by fire. Now they try to save these things. And when are you going to save the earth? You're going to save the planet. You won't save nothing because the Bible says, "Thus says the Lord, it will be destroyed." Because there's no hope outside of Christ. No hope. Now the first, did I say the first? The first self-described transhumanists met formally in the early 1980s at the University of, no, you got to be kidding me. Of California, Los Angeles, City of Angels, which became the main center of transhumanist thought. No wonder. Of course, it's the center. It's Satan's seat. And then they got it, with the movies industry and more presented Breaking Away, a book or a movie, 1980 experimental film with the theme of humans breaking away from biological limitations and the Earth's gravity as they head into space. That's why you got all these movies, Star Trek, Star Wars, and about gravity and space this and space that, and the people's mind are filled with imaginary thoughts about going somewhere else. Now the Earth is God's center of creation. Transhumanism. Even 1931, that's been going on for a while. We didn't notice that, but we're exposing it today. Amazing Story publishes the Jameson satellite Neil Armstrong's story about a man whose corpse is sent to orbit, where he stays close to absolute zero for millions of years until a race of cyborgs discover it, defrost it, and install it in the body of a robot. Now you're laughing, but Walt Disney believed in that so much that he made his body froze because he got cancer. And he made his body froze, and he says, "Froze me." And when science go and discover a cure for cancer, defrost me. Because he was a transhumanist, 33rd degree Freemason, nothing about his content should be found in our home. Because there's an ideology behind Disney. And it's not a godly one. Now you got a lot of movies, there's a full list. But the theme is always robots that are humans. So many movies where you fall in love with robots. You listen to the movie and this robot's trying to survive. He's cute, he's talking, you're emotionally attached to them. It's the agenda to create an emotional connection with robots. You think it's crazy, right? But if it's so crazy, why do they spend millions of dollars making these movies? transhumanism agenda is to, between human being and a robot, there's a huge difference. There's a huge gap. But the purpose is for them is to make the ditch narrow, and to blur the line, and to make human more like robots and make robots more like human. For what for? What's the purpose of this sermon tonight? You'll see. We're going somewhere. So, listening to these things, you're making an emotional connection to robots. Many believe in the compatibility between human minds and computer hardware, with the theoretical implication that human consciousness would one day be transferred to alternative media and speculative technique commonly known as download of the mind. Basically, they believe one day they can take the mind of someone and download that into a hard drive. Now, I don't know if you know, but there's a man who lost his arm. And they created a robotic arm that's connected to his brain. And he's able to move with his mind. So if you think that this is far-stretched, that human mind can make a robot function, you're a little bit late in news. This is not like coming, this is now. It's already existing with someone, and then he's training because he's thinking. He says it's hard, but then he gets used to it, and with his mind, he makes this robot arm move. So when you think about human mind, this is light. It's electrical impulse. He's thinking, he wants it, and they tap into that. So if you think that robotization and human being is so far, no, they're already blended. Now you're going to say, well, how this affect my life? You'll see. It's already on us, but we were not aware. So the idea of uploading a personality and non-biological substrate is in underlying assumptions are criticized by a wide range of academics. Everybody's doing okay? How many of you heard the term android before? You've heard the term android? Where? How come you guys know that? What is android? Android is that, you say automaton? How do you say that? Automaton? Okay. Automaton in the form of a human being. So it's a machine in the form of a human being. Where do we find android? Where have you heard the name? Someone help me. Phones? Okay. So they named that android. Why? You see the purpose now. Now, what is an automaton? It's a machine which by means of mechanical, pneumatic, hydraulic, electric, electronic device is capable of acts imitating those animated body, often taking in the sense of android. Android is a robot in the shape of a human being. So, of course, we've heard android before. And so now you start to see the ideology behind that and what they're looking for. Now, this is not Android bashing, because Apple, Microsoft, all these corporations, they all have the same aim. They all have the same purpose. They all go in the same direction. Now, how many have seen this before? These are called Google Glasses. Now, we moved from a computer that's probably 18 inches from us. And then we leave and we don't bring with us. And that's a laptop, that's great. But before that, it used to be a huge tower with a huge screen, heavy screen, with a keyboard and a mouse, and had to be connected to the wall. And then they make it narrow, they make it a laptop. You can carry with you, but it's still not practical. You have to open it, start it. Man, it's complicated. And then they turn it into a smartphone. Now, the power that's in this, it's also in there. Now, it used to be that a phone would be used to call. You brothers, you know that? That a phone used to be used to call? Yeah, I mean, you talk and they hear you, and you have that actual conversation with people. That was the use of a phone before. Now today it changed quite a bit because we pretty much use it for everything outside of talking. And it creates a lot of conflict because we try to sometimes, that's another topic, but let me touch it for 5 seconds. We try to solve issues typing and texting. We've created so many arguments just by someone getting the wrong message in text because there's no emotion. So you don't know if he's happy. That's why they came out with emojis. Because you needed to send a smile because we were not sure how you were feeling about what you just wrote. Anyway. But that's another sermon. Okay. Now Apple made the phone a smartphone. Oh, it's amazing. That's 10 years ago. But before that, it was a phone. And then it became a smart phone. And then that phone you could bring it with you. But you don't wear a phone. You use a phone. Now, their purpose is not to stop there. Now, what I'm doing tonight is to expose the end game. Because as we're going on in technology, oh, great, no, there's this new that. Oh, this new this. But we're just going along because we don't know where that's leading. So we're following along. Oh, great. But what I want to expose tonight is the end game. And at one point, we'll have to say, I stop. Because I don't agree anymore. You're with me? I will use it, but not excessively use it because it's going too far. So basically, this is the purpose. So now everything, oh great, from a big computer it became a laptop, from a laptop it became a super phone, and we're all moving along, it's great. You know where I stopped myself without knowing what I know tonight? But when the watch became a smartwatch, something inside of me said, no. And that is called wearable. Is that a word? Okay. I have the habits of making new words. It's called wearable technologies. A phone you lose, a watch, you wear it. Google Glass is that we call wearing technology. And we would think that's the closest we can have. It's not. The next step is implants. And you say, oh, come on. Oh, no, not implants. Of course, implants. That's where they're going. Inside your technology, inside your skin. Because remember, what is robot? A robot, an android, is a human-shaped thing with machine inside. And a human being that accept the ideology of transhumanism will accept electronic invading his life to such a degree because he feels he needs help. He's not sufficient. He's not complete. I hope you're making that. I'm not talking about spiritual things, but you're supposed to fill the blank. I'm not complete. I'm not wonderfully made. I need this to be implanted inside of me to become a better person. Without Facebook, I feel like I'm not important anymore. Nobody noticed me. I feel like when I disconnect from Facebook, I don't exist anymore. That's a true feeling. If I don't post something new, I know for that world, and so it's becoming a new world where we don't feel complete. I never had Facebook. Don't blame those who have it, but for me, couldn't go there. Just couldn't go there. No. So Google Glasses, they released that on the market and then they pull it because, and then an article came out and say people are not coping. It's going too fast. It went from a smartphone to a watch, and then you have to wear it, and then if you notice here, there's a screen there in your eyes, and you talk to your glasses. Show me this, show me that. And so they start releasing that technology into companies. You know, you're working on a chain, fixing something, you're asking questions for information, and it's becoming a help. And I'm sure it's helpful, I'm sure it's handy. Technology is always bringing you good because it's the life, it's the tree of good and evil. So it's good. Like my Uber ride was awesome. Amazon is great. It always helped our lives. I'm sure Cain was doing his crop faster than Adam. And his end was not bleeding. So he looked better than the other one. But Adam was son of God. He was looking somewhere else. Okay, let's move on. Because I still have a little bit to cover. Everybody's okay? You're still with me? So transhumanism ideology is the contrary of that scripture. For thou hast possessed my reins, thou hast covered me in my mother's womb. I will praise thee, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Without 100 likes on my Facebook, I do feel this way about myself. God has created me. I'm a daughter of God. I'm a son of God. And he says I'm complete with him in my soul, and I feel like I'm fulfilled in him. Marvelous are thy works, and that my soul knoweth right well. There's much more to it you can read back home because I have to move forward. Now, how many has used that before? No, let me reverse the question. How many has never used this? Raise your hand really high. Okay, keep your hands high. Never used it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, you all go into 5. You all go into rapture. All the rest of you, tribulation is waiting for you. It's not true. When we're going there, what are we doing? Someone answer. What are we doing? Searching. Let me say it other words. We're looking for an answer. We have a problem. We have a question. We have a need. And we go to this page to find answers. When Google started with this page, I don't know if they're still doing it now, but it used to show you how fast the answer came and how many answers you got. It was like, okay, that search was processed into 0.001 second, and you got 22 million results. Bragging about how fast you got an answer to your problem. And it became an habit. Now back home, church, some people in church thought funny that I was preaching that because I'm probably the most technological person in the church. To such a point that, people in church, when they have a problem in computer and problem with the iPad, they send me a text, Steve, what should I do with that? And then at first I would Google the question and then send them the answer. But at one point I got tired and I said, well, go on Google and Google will answer. Google the question. Just what you texted me. What should I do with my iPad when my iPad does this? Just cut that and paste into a Google query and you'll get your answer. Don't ask the pastor. But have you ever thought about what's behind this page? We'll go on the other side of the screen tonight. What's behind that screen is called artificial intelligence. I'm going to make it short. From then on, we're going to call it AI. AI is the short for artificial intelligence. And that has changed our life. The prophetess saw AI in vision. Let me show you the quote. Got your attention now, huh? Broken cistern. And I said, then science is going to be so great. Man is going to get so smart till it'll invent so many things until it's going to make an automobile that looks like an egg. They'll have like a glass top on it, and it'd be controlled by some other power than a steering wheel. That's how the vision, that's how the prophet named artificial intelligence. Some other power than a steering wheel. Now we know it's not a steering wheel that's driving the car, it's you. It's human intelligence driving the car. But a prophet said that there was another power will drive the car, and that power we now know is called AI. It's an artificial intelligence. It's a robot. Now, what they're telling you when you're doing search, they're telling you, oh, it's the algorithm. Oh, the algorithm. But it's not that. Algorithm is just numbers. But who runs the number? It's the AI. But they don't talk often about AI. They say, oh, it's the algorithm this, everything is that. But it's an artificial intelligence. Okay? Now this man says, let us define an ultra-intelligent machine as a machine that can surpass by far all the intellectual activities of every man, even intelligent ones. Machine design being one of these intellectual activities, an ultra-intelligent machine could design even better machines. There would then be an indisputable explosion of intelligence, and the intelligence of the men would be left far behind. So the first ultra-intelligent machine is the latest invention that man needs to realize. Because at one point, that super machine, intelligence, will take over, and that they will be able to invent greater things that men cannot even touch. Now, the man who said that, he said that in 1965. We've arrived. Now, sometimes we think, wow, Walt Disney, when you look at some of the documentary he made, you say, man, this guy was a visionary. He was so smart, he could see it in the future. No. They were not visionaries, they were architects. Think about that. It's not spontaneous success. It's success by design. Because the many smart guy invented smart thing, but it was not part of the agenda. So they would put aside. Steve Jobs, it was right on what they wanted. And so it's success by design, not spontaneous. So these people, they wanted something for our civilization, and they had the means and the power to do it. You wake one morning to find that your brain has another functional lobe. Invisible, this auxiliary lobe answers your question with information beyond the scope of your own memory, suggests plausible lines of action, and asks questions to highlight relevant facts. You quickly find yourself on the new lobe to the point of stopping to wonder how it works. You just use it. This is the dream of AI, April 1985. We've reached that now. Now back home, I've made a demonstration with my phone. But since my phone in French, it's not as efficient, so I let it alone. But basically what I did back home is I took the mic, put the mic on my phone, and stood away from it. And then I say, hey Siri, what's the weather like today? Hi Steve, the weather will be this, so. And that function is not enabled on my phone, but I had enabled it just for the service. And people were shocked in the service, because I did not touch my phone. It recognized my voice. Now you could try to talk to my phone and it would decline the request because they don't know your voice. My phone doesn't know your voice, it knows my voice. It hears me when I talk. Give me the latest great recipe about crepes. Give me this muffin recipe. What's the distance between the earth and the moon? Whatever question you have, your phone answers. It's called AI. Voice activated, recognized your voice. People were shocked. And that's what I have access, you have access to that. Your phone's probably capable of doing that. I'm reaching a climax shortly. I want to skip some of the thing. Let me see where, okay. I'm going to go there. Now, all that AI what sometimes we don't realize is that every aspect of our life will be connected to a central computer. It's already like that. And what they're doing right now is just implementing the rest that needs to be implemented. I don't know where Edmonton is right now with that, but I remember the last mayor in Montreal, he wanted to make Montreal a smart city. And a smart city is pretty much everything in the city. Let's talk about it. Bus, museum, subways, everything is connected. The camera system, facial recognition, everything in the city is all connected to artificial intelligence. And all the city, the lights, the red lights, green light, everything is connected and controlled by a center, and that center is AI. And it will pretty much control every aspect of the society. It's already there, but they still lack. That's why when I started the sermon tonight, I said, we are right now into a major shift in our civilization. And even though you say, well, I don't care about that stuff, it will happen anyway. Well, I'll never use that. It will happen anyway. I'll never surrender my steering wheel. No robot will ever drive me. You know what they'll do? How do you call that when you pay for your plate? A license plate? You pay a fee to get that, do you? Well, if you want to drive, your plate will cost twice. Because at one point, AI will be a safer driver than you. Your insurance will say, if you drive your car, we'll double your policy. And it will force you that way. It'll be so expensive to drive your car, they won't make it illegal because that would temper your rights. But they'll force you into this, where your life's going to be much easier. You won't be allowed to use certain highways if you're driving. So they'll have their way. And that's exactly where we're all going. So it's a major shift in our civilization. Right now, our life is changing, and not for the best, even though it's fun. And so we're really at the end time, the end of the end time. So every aspect of our life and every aspect of the society is going there. We even have now smart homes, right? Smart meters. Power company gave us a nice smart meter, which will tell the power company how much you're using electricity every hour of the day. They're all connected together. They call it smart meters. Again, everything is smart. It's smart that. You buy new appliance, they are smart appliance. There's a Wi-Fi chip inside your appliance connected to the smart meter, telling the hydro company if you're cooking at this time, washing at that time, and they'll come soon. If you do your laundry at 5 o'clock, you'll pay a higher fee. And so it's all connected. We call that smart home. Talk about controlling people. But it's on us. It's already there. I refused Hydro-Quebec. I just said, no smart meter for me. They charge me more. I'll pay more. I don't want that nonsense. I don't want you to spy on my life. Nothing to hide, but my life is my life. I'll do my laundry when I want to do my laundry. And by the way, I don't even do laundry. But my wife, she's free to do laundry when she wants. Okay.